Between the Lakers, the Nuggets, it's tonight. ESPN. LeBron seeking his 11th finals appearance. Only Bill Russell, Sam Jones have been to that many, and the only franchises with more, Lakers, Celtics, and the Warriors. You know, the King, he enters this series averaging 23 points, 10 boards, 5 assists this postseason. He's coming off that 30-point game in the series-clinching win over Golden State. All right, so how important is tonight's game? Well, LeBron has won the last 20 series in which his team has won game one. That includes the series in these playoffs where LA stole the home court. Here is LeBron.
Well, what's the biggest difference between level 3 and level 2 when you're trying to communicate to the guys?
Well, I mean, as hard as we thought level 2 was, it's going to be even harder, this round. And that doesn't take anything away from GS because that was, I don't know. I've had my battles with that franchise, so I know how hard it is. But, as you continue to get up into the numbers, and like you said, level 3 is just a very difficult challenge.
And at level 3 is the top seed in the West.
Why does this sound like a video game and like we're getting to like Bison
levels
at the end of Street Fighter?
Yes.
We talking about this in a totally different way. Like this is sports. Like this, and we understand now. You about to play the #1 team in the West, and Denver got to get that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. So if that's the case, then Alan, why does you think this LeBron run that feels different for you?
Well, first of all, this is like what, after Bald Bull, right? Is that what we are right now when it comes to in Punch-Out, right? But it feels different, and I've talked about this on this show before, and I feel like this is really live watching LeBron's version of The Last Dance. This is a doc that we're watching live instead of 25 years later because of the story that is behind this whole thing. Remaking the roster late, the 2-10 start, and how it looked like LeBron was maybe it was over for him. He was not going to win another championship or play for another championship, but instead they rebuild the roster around him. They don't put in vets like he always used to have, younger players instead, hungry players, defenders. They're all guys who also are wanting to play for him, wanting to win for him, and he's become, dare I say, the dad of the group, sort of that guy that's overseeing everything. I'll help you when need to, but Anthony Davis is the star. He's the one that's got to carry us. And every other night, there's always a Lonnie Walker or an Austin Reeves or somebody that shows up and can be a star, and LeBron is happy for it. There's just something, he's been the villain before. Dare I say that this might be the first time the country can be decided with the Final Four teams that this might be the favorite team to win the championship?
I think a lot of people are pulling for LeBron in this one. How do you view?
Well, this is different. This actually isn't LeBron's run. I think that's the difference between The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and this. Like we already talked about it, the fact that it was about going get younger, hungrier defenders, guys that can run the floor, dudes like Austin Reeves ascending, and us now seeing him as a household name, a dude that could go out and get $80 million in his next contract. Like exactly. Or Lonnie Walker finishing the game. And then we get to hear one of LeBron's great revisionist lies. I told him, you know how LeBron will say, and that's my favorite saying right there. LeBron was like, I told him to stay ready because I knew he'd score 15 in the fourth quarter against the Golden State Warriors, right? When you look at this team, it's comprised differently than we've seen other LeBron teams that have made a championship run. What this does, though, this adds to the greatest career we've ever seen in basketball. That's what LeBron James is doing. And we saw him, whether it was finishing against Dylan Brooks late or what we saw in Game 6 against the Golden State Warriors. He now knows when and how to pick his spots, and he's going to have to do this against this Denver Nuggets team that I believe is a better team front to back than the Lakers are.
And Vince, it's one of those runs where it's not all about LeBron. It's almost like he's been picking his spots in different games. It's been about other guys.
And I think that's the growth of LeBron because he's used to being that guy. Having the ball in his hand, I'm going to dictate how this is going to turn out. Now he's empowered Anthony Davis to be the guy. You're alpha dog #1 and allowing other guys to have the ball. And, Draymond said it best. We're trying to figure out how to guard LeBron off the ball.
Yeah, right.
Like off the ball. This is another version of him being able to sit back and say, Austin Reeves is capable.
Yes.
Let me allow him, empower him to be that because we're going to need him down the road when I don't have it. And that's what we're seeing. Like, when he has it, okay, you guys don't have it? Power up. I power up, I become LeBron James that we know. But
he puts the suit on.
Exactly. Right. But until then, he's allowing these guys to make mistakes because you're not going to you're not going to understand how this works, and you're not going to have experience until you go through it. And he understands they have to go through it by allowing them to be putting in the fire.
That's what I mean about the dad thing, because a lot of times with the dad, like the first thing you want to do is do it for them. Then you realize that how can you ever learn if I don't let you try and then see what you can do? And that's what I think we've seen with the evolution of this team. But, again, let's just indulge me on the idea of this being a live docu-series because of all the episodes we're talking about, the 2-10 start, how ugly things were in the midst of that season. They make all the trades. Him getting injured, which that looked really bad. Dylan Brooks calling him old, calling him out, talking trash to him to a point where, wow, is he that old that guys are disrespecting him like that in front of his face? Overcoming that, having to face Steph Curry, who seemingly owned him in the postseason, that if Steph Curry beat him again, there were some people, not me, but some people that were like, hey, if Steph beats him again, does Steph move ahead of him in this generation if he wins another championship and all that stuff? Beating them, and now, of course, this is the toughest team that they're going to face. Just getting to a finals, what a story this would be for LeBron James.
So if that's the case, then where would that rank when you talk about LeBron's career accomplishments? Because in essence, what you're saying is they knocked off the top 2 seeds in the West and the defending champions.
Yeah, but you see, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. When you look at this Memphis Grizzly team, you're down Steven Adams, you're down another big. It was a different team than we'd seen the entire season, and it also was a team that had no true leader. Right? There was no OG in that locker room that had any control over those personalities. LeBron James ain't the best player in the world anymore. LeBron James isn't the player that I listened to y'all talk all last week needs to show up for him to win. Right? LeBron James was the dude that Wendy was saying, LeBron has nothing left. He has no legs. And it was true. He couldn't go from one night, kill you and give you 30 plus, take a day off and come back and do the same thing.
When you say,
and so that's why it's the least impressive to me from him individually, personally.
But I mean, but the story though, because obviously when he took the Cavs, when that Cleveland, this is
That's
for
the
you,
greatest.
that moment.
That is the greatest.
That,
That's
of
the
course,
one.
is
Being
the
down
one we'll always
0-3.
remember, because what it meant.
Yes.
Obviously, it's a hometown team. It's unfinished business because of how he left going back. That would probably never be replaced as the best championship for him. But this one, because of the story.
Who's the villain?
That's my point.
He
always was the villain.
But who's the other one? Right, like so. Whenever we have these championships and we have a guy, right? We have a guy that's the star. We have a guy that we're rooting for, and then the other guy is the villain. The other guy is the antagonist. There is none, right? There's nobody else you're attached to in the world that's playing basketball anymore. And I think that's why when we watch this, and we're going to watch the championship, because it could be Lakers and Celtics, or it could be Heat and Lakers again, or Denver wins, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, it's cool. But it isn't that type of enthralling that you're watching to the last shot of every game because you want to see if this dude now takes the throne. There is not that's not happening this season, and I think that's why, to me, it's not as impressive.
Vince?
But I'll say this. I think coming from 2-10, and we can sit here and honestly say there's no chance in the world. And shout out to Rob Pelinka because he was on Murderer's Row.
Yeah. Real MVP. Yeah.
As far as,
you're right.
Are you going to make a change, or are you going to sit here and let this happen? Some people saying, just let it ride out until the summer. No, he said, we're going to do it now. Now, once you get this new group, you have to make it work. Yeah. And I think LeBron deserves a lot of credit for that. Goes back to what I was just saying. Empowerment and allowing growth to his young guys. Because if not, they're not here because Austin Reeves doesn't have the confidence to go out there and, LeBron, no, I got it. You go over there. I'll make a play for you. And he says, okay. That doesn't happen because that's never been LeBron's thing.
Welcome back on Get Up in the matchup that will decide everything in the Western Conference Finals, AD and the Joker. This year will be very different than it was, you remember, in that 2020 Conference Finals. In that series, Jokic only took 17 shots with Davis as his primary defender. That Lakers team also had Dwight Howard, who played really well against Jokic, and JaVale McGee. Lakers team doesn't have the same depth. During the regular season, AD, one of 4 defenders to match up 100 times against the Joker. Davis allowed a 59 effective field goal percentage in 23 half-court matchups. On the flip side, how will Denver attack that Lakers interior? The Nuggets allow opponents to shoot 69% at the rim during the regular season. That's the 3rd highest rate in the league. Back here with Vince, I got Jay Will, I got Alan Hahn here. Okay, Jay, so how does AD does he really need to outplay, you think, Jokic to make it the Lakers to make it to the Western Conference Finals?
Well, defensively, I don't think you're going to see AD guard Jokic a lot in the series. I think you'll see guys like Rui. I think you'll see guys like LeBron James. I think they'll be a little bit concerned about trying to keep AD out of foul trouble. And I do think AD is best defensively when he can kind of play a free safety, maybe come over from the weak side and block shots. He'll get his fair share, don't get me wrong. But you're going to need Anthony Davis to be special. His specialness starts on the defensive end.
Okay.
Specialness, I just made up a word, by the way.
Yeah. How important is it
Real time.
for the Lakers to establish AD early, you think, in this series?
I think
especially
it's
tonight.
I think it's important to establish AD early for confidence and to set the tone. I think LeBron is going to go out there and set the tone, and he's going to play through Anthony Davis. He's extremely important. I think the success Anthony Davis had in the Golden State Warriors series, when he was dominating, he created open shots for everyone else. You either had to move bodies closer, and you're kind of hesitant to Klay Thompson. Like you're like, no, but we got to get in. We got to, now Klay is getting over now and having to put a double team, put an extra body on there, and who's getting open, who's having special nights. And I think they need to establish that from the beginning if they want to have success in this series.
Okay, so then, Alan, if you look at the Nuggets, what do you say is their Achilles heel that AD and the Lakers can take advantage of?
Yeah, well, we showed it there. Second Spectrum tells us so. At the rim protection, right? I mean, 70% shooting at the rim. So what you want to do is that first, the Lakers, if they can make threes, which they do at a pretty decent clip here in the playoffs, have to spread out the Nuggets, keep that paint open, and then just attack with Anthony Davis. And you also want to attack Jokic. You want to get him in one-on-one situations as best you can. Find ways to keep going at him and keep him busy. Not really a rim protector, not a great shot blocker. And you want to also occupy him on defense so that he does wear him down a little bit. Don't let his battery recharge on defense because everybody else is doing the work. So the paint is the place that the Lakers need to establish early, and they can do that, obviously, by knocking down those perimeter shots.
So, Jay, we already know that AD is already the focal point of this Lakers squad. My question is then, how many of these signature games do we need out of LeBron?
Is he the focal point?
In AD?
Well, I mean, I think he's one of the focal points. There's been an interesting theme that's been occurring here with Anthony Davis and his arrival.
Yeah.
Is that it reminds me so much of what D Wade went through with LeBron. VC, remember that time when it was almost like D Wade was like, no, LeBron, take the torch.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's your team. And I feel like we're watching LeBron do that with AD. But I do feel like as we get deep into these playoffs, these are the moments that are set up for LeBron. You saw that in Game 6 where he had 30, he punished. You talk about the shooting percentage at the rim. I think you're going to see a high dosage or a high diet of LeBron James attacking Aaron Gordon, trying to find different ways to get to the rim, because that's their bread and butter. That's where the free throw disparity comes in about, and that's what this team is built on, defense and points in the paint.
I just think, I agree.
Okay.
I think LeBron needs Anthony Davis to get off to a fast start.
Agreed.
Because
I agree.
A higher usage of LeBron, I don't think is a good idea. We saw him wear down. We didn't get much of him after that overtime victory against the Grizzlies. He kind of ran out, didn't have any gas left in the next game. So I think it's important for Anthony Davis to get started because LeBron at any time can take over a basketball game. When he feels like, no, I got you, but it's my turn. Let me put my stamp on this game.
And you can do that, though. I mean, if I'm AD, I'm watching tape of DeAndre Ayton, and I'm saying, okay, Jokic beat DeAndre Ayton down the court. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I'm going to beat him down the court
That's
every
a fact.
single time. I'm going to post early. I'm going to establish myself. I'm going to make him work defensively, which hopefully can take his legs away offensively.
And I'm going to add real fast, putting Jokic in multiple screening actions, but he has to guard multiple actions.
Occupy him.
It's important because in his mind, the lob threat that he's going to get, that Anthony Davis presents is a real thing. Plus guarding actions coming off. Austin Reeves getting in the paint, LeBron getting in the paint. I think that's important.
Now again, LeBron is always the focal point because he's LeBron. He's the brand, right? But in a series like this, in a series that we've seen already in the playoffs for the Lakers, LeBron is that guy that will finish. He's Mariano Rivera. He's the closer. Like when it comes time to get one, all right, now LeBron shows up and closes the deal. But Anthony Davis needs to be established early and often in this series for several reasons. One, to make sure that he's got it going, and secondly, to keep Jokic busy. So that's why that is the focal point, Matt.